Welcome to Thoughts in a Glass podcast. I'm LaToya.
And I'm Kendra.
And this is a weekly podcast where we share our unfiltered thoughts and opinions on a variety of topics.
So sit back, relax, and join us on a conversation of real, raw, and ridiculously funny commentary.
Period. Every week we do a drink of the night. Kendra, what's our drink tonight?
So tonight's drink is called an Orange Elderflower Martini. We didn't have a specific recipe, so I just kind of did my little, mixy, tendy type of thing. So I did an ounce and a half of Saint Germain, 1 ounce of Grand Marnier, 2 ounces of orange juice, and a half an ounce of lime juice. You put that in your shaker, give it a good mixy mix, and that's it. And we garnished it with a
Orange.
But it's
dried.
Yeah, it's dried.
Dehydrated.
Dehydrated orange. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yes, I am. It's giving very a brunch.
It is.
Martini.
I was just thinking, it's like a take on a mimosa, especially if you don't like champagne. Also, I know y'all know I like Saint Germain. I just like the taste of it. So, okay, let me do this first. Let me get this out the way. Okay. So, our Women's History Month fact, because we still in the month of March, which is Women's History. I found this down. The date, this was on March 1st. I think originally I had wanted to talk about it last week, but we had special guests last week, but I'm still going to circle back to it. So on March 1st of 1864, Rebecca Lee Crumpler became the first African-American woman to earn a medical degree. For much of her career, she practiced community medicine in Boston, but in the aftermath of the Civil War, she traveled to the South to treat thousands of formerly enslaved refugees. She also wrote one of the first medical manuals by an African-American doctor in the United States, and it was the first one by a woman.
Snaps for you, Rebecca.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool because the theme this year is like education. She was the first, in 1864, she was the first Black woman to get a medical degree.
Child.
I feel like I could have done a little bit more research because I wonder if women could even be doctors for a long period of time.
Yes.
Y'all could look it up, research it, look into it a little bit more. But I'm wondering if in 1864, even though she had a medical degree, I wonder if she could be a doctor.
Practice.
I don't know if we had gotten to that point yet.
Child, are we at that point now?
So, how was your week?
I'm going to look this up first.
Okay, you interested? You intrigued?
I am. It's going to be on my mind. 1849.
So by 64 they could.
She was.
Okay.
All right. How was my week? The week was pretty good. I'm in the process of my daughter's Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the little show, Sweet 16? Mm-hmm. She ain't getting none of that stuff. But so over the weekend, I made the mosaic number.
Okay.
So I did the 16. I did a 4'1". I'm going to do a 5'1" for outside. I made the centerpieces over the weekend.
Cool.
So I used the small vases from the Dollar Tree, put those together to make longer vases.
Mm-hmm.
And used the little fishbowl thing, and it's going to have floating
nice
candles and stuff. Anyway, worked on that. I think I'm going to try to get to my parents' house sometime, maybe Thursday or Friday, to pitch the tents, to make sure see how everything, put some of the chairs in and stuff like that. The only thing is, hopefully the weather, cooperates.
Yeah, because you're setting everything up a week in advance.
So, no, I'm not setting it fully up. I just want to put it up to
put it up and then take it back to
stretch it
your
out,
placement
see
and
my
everything.
placement, all of that kind of stuff. And then go from there because I have to put together the dance floor and other things. I did purchase some heaters and stuff like that. So, where's everything going to go to maximize the space, but also make sure that nothing happens to the children.
Yeah.
So with trying to do everything, it's a lot. I'm doing all of the decorations, ordering all of the stuff, trying to see if Friday if they're going to have a resolution. It's a little bit early, but it's just so much.
How have you been doing with the time change?
I thought I was going to be okay because I prefer a longer day, afternoon, because I have a little bit more energy to keep getting stuff done. But I already went into this tired.
Yeah.
So tired on pushing me an hour ahead ain't adding up.
Yeah.
It ain't adding up. Man, I got stuff to do. The dogs be barking. Minding that people business. I just can't understand.
So the time change really snuck up on me. I was like, dang, that was supposed to happen? What did I miss? When I looked at my calendar, it said daylight savings on Sunday the 9th. I had a notification saying daylight savings. I was like, I didn't know that was supposed to happen. I was completely disoriented. Thank God for my cell phone that it automatically did it, because
remember when you had to rely on your card?
I would not have known. I was actually confused for a second because I'm looking at my phone, looking at the clock. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't go into it tired, but it definitely threw me off. I'm like, can we stop doing this? When can we say we don't need
Y'all
to
so
do
busy
this
worried
anymore?
about what's going on with my cooch.
I know, like, you doing all this frivolous shit.
Golf America, they don't want to care about that.
No one cares.
It's the damn daylight savings.
Yes, let's stop doing that, please. But yeah, so that took me, like, I don't. So it's so funny because I remember when we were talking about the going back an hour and like how we were still like super tired, and I feel like going forward an hour, same thing. Like, I'm freaking jet lagged.
I'm tired. Clearly, I'm tired.
So, all right, we haven't talked in a while. At least to them. We haven't talked to them. Because the last 3 episodes that y'all saw were like cruise recap and cruise stuff. Yes. So, it's been a minute. And y'all know I be booked and busy. Literally, after the cruise, I did a retreat with my book club. Super cute, super fun. I'll circle back to it. And then that next weekend, it was my best friend's birthday. So I hung out with her. And then this past weekend, I hung out with my other best friend just to catch up. So I've really been all over the place. The book club retreat was so nice. I'm so glad I went. I had a lot of anxiety around it at first. And I was thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go. But it ended up being super nice. So y'all know I'm in 2 book clubs and maybe possibly about to be 3. So my one book club babes, they went on a retreat too, but it was the same week that we were on the cruise. So I missed that one. But then my other book club, Smutty Buddies, they went on a retreat like that next weekend. So I was able to do that. And when I say I had anxiety, the anxiety was this. You know how you know people and it's like, we know each other in this certain realm. I haven't spent the night with you. We meet up once a month, talk about our books, and then we go our separate ways, right? But you talking about doing a retreat, so now
some consecutive time.
Yeah, together. And it's gonna be like a full day of being around this person. I felt like for me the anxiety was when I'm around them, I'm, on per se. Even though my personality is just talkative to begin with, but sometimes I have my downtime where I'm not...
You're just chilling.
Yeah, I'm just chilling, and I'm not really...
Want to be engaged.
Yeah.
Engaging.
And so, now thinking about it in retrospect, I feel like this is so silly, but we can't control how anxiety shows up and what things we end up being anxious about. I was literally anxious about the fact that they're so used to me. Most of the people in my book club are introverts. So I was really anxious about the fact that they're so used to me being the talkative one and getting things going. When they see me in a different capacity, like when I just wake up in the morning, I don't feel like talking.
Right. How's that going to...
Oh, is the expectation going to be like, oh, she's going to, you know what I'm saying?
Keep the party going.
But when I got there, it wasn't that at all. I had actually talked to my therapist about it, and I was like, I'm feeling so weird. Like, I want to go. Like, I want to bond with them, but I'm also like... do I want to show them other sides of myself? They just used to seeing the fun, talkative person. Maybe I'm not ready to show the other sides. And her advice was be yourself. If they accept you, great. If they don't, it's okay. Everybody you come in contact with doesn't have to be, if you do find that you go there and they don't accept you, then to just put them in that box of happy hour friends. Because I showed you a little bit more and you ain't seem to really vibe with it, right? So I was like, okay, great advice. So that's what I did. I went and I was like, I'm going to just be myself. It is what it is and just see how they react. And honestly, nobody was even fazed. It was like, I was worried for nothing. In fact, they were even more accommodating. Like, when we first got there, me and one of the girls had got there a little bit late. So 3 of the people were already there. And they had been drinking and eating their little tacos and stuff like that. So when we got there, the first thing they said was like, we already started drinking or whatever, but we know y'all been on the road. If y'all want to go ahead and get settled and come to the living room like when you ready. Immediately, I was like, okay, cool. They not expecting me to
get in there and start turning up.
Yeah.
That drinks.
Exactly. So I was like, cool. So then once we started spending time together, talking, bonding, and everything, I also found that we had a lot more interest other than just reading the book. I was worried about that too, because it's a mixed crowd, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, honestly, race-wise, I feel like it's 50-50. There's about, now, I don't know how many people it is, but let's just say it's like 12 people. Out of the 12, you probably have like 6 black, 6 white, right? You may have 5 black, 5 white, and 1 mixed person. As far as the ratio of diversity, it's pretty even. But sometimes I feel like when I'm in mixed company, especially with white people, culturally, some things don't overlap. So I'm always cognizant of that. People can always surprise you with another side to them. But I feel like they're, you know what it is? They're young. So the cultural overlaps, it's easier because they're young. And I feel like younger people have a better, at least this generation, the younger people have a better time of like navigating those spaces. You know what I mean? So even that felt comfortable. I didn't have to code switch per se. I was really just being myself. And it was like, okay, cool. Like nobody was using a hard R, but if I slipped up and let a nigga come out, nobody felt uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Anyway, I had a really good time. I'm glad I went. We did have a lot of alone time where we just went in our separate corners and read, and that was super cute. If y'all follow me on Instagram, I posted the sunrise because we did, where we were, the beach house we were at, we were able to see the sunrise. So this was in Duck, North Carolina, so like the Outer Banks area. Super nice house, super nice view. They had a hot tub. We got in the hot tub. Granted, it was the off season, so it was too cold to get in the beach water. But a couple of the girls did a cold plunge. So,
girl, I be looking at that cold plunge and I be like,
So how they did it, they ran out on the beach, jumped in the water, and then they ran back to the house and got in the hot tub. And that just goes to show you how close the house was to the beach. It was literally like you could run. It was maybe like, if you have a longer driveway, if you can imagine from your front door to the end of your driveway, the beach was right there. And they could run back and get in the hot tub. So anyway, that was super nice. Next weekend, my homegirl, Crystal, was her birthday. We went to the George Washington Mount Vernon mansion. I recommend it. If you're a history nerd, it was very interesting. One thing I will say about them, I'm going to give them credit for this, but I don't know where this came from. I don't know if this was because they got criticism, that they changed it up, or if it was something that they naturally did. But one thing they don't do, they don't shy away from the existence of slaves and the contributions that slaves had to the success of George Washington's presidency and his different farms and business ventures, right? They just address it. They even have graphics showing you how many slaves were on a plantation versus like how many indentured servants versus how many like white family members. And they talk about it. You know what I mean? They name them. And they just don't shy away from that, which is something that I really appreciated. It's almost like, granted, slavery was fucked up. At least we can try to respect them by not shying away from that history. So I appreciated that, and I recommend it if you get a chance to go. And then last weekend, I hooked up with my girlfriend Shantae. We did wings and wine. We hadn't hooked up in a while. We hadn't hung out in a while. And I was like, she has 2 kids. Instead of going to brunch or doing something where I know you're going to have to get a babysitter, I'll just come over. We can open up a couple bottles of wine, order some wings, and just chit-chat. Like, it don't, I feel like when we get older,
it don't always got to be outside a big to-do.
And it be feeling like that, especially now that we older. It's like, if I text you and be like, hey, let's hang out, it's like, okay, let's look for a restaurant or something to do. And you could just come over. You know what I mean? I think this spring/summer, I might start doing that. I might start being like, okay, if we watching something, I'll just come over and watch an episode of whatever we watching.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, right? Have my friends come over here. We don't have to always be outside. Y'all don't have to get a babysitter every time. I just feel like that's a lot to ask of people. So now we all caught up on what I've been doing. What else is going on?
If you haven't gotten into it, you got to get into Paradise.
So I've been watching Paradise. Everybody was talking about episode 7. I hadn't quite caught up yet. Last weekend, I finally caught up. I love me a chocolate man. I've been liking Sterling K. Brown, but he's not like my top. But he's the good looking man. I think it's interesting that people are seeing him in this role and kind of like seeing that more attractive side of him. But I feel like even in This Is Us, even in American Fiction, and a lot of the stuff that he's done, I've always found him attractive. I do think he has a little bit of a, he was also in Black Panther. He was in Black Panther too. I'm gonna look it up. But he does have a bit of a look that can go both ways. If he's trying to make himself look more rustic or trying to make himself look one way. I just think he has the kind of look that he can manipulate it. You know what I mean?
Oh, he was the father.
No, he was the father's brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
The father of
Michael B. Jordan's character.
Yes.
So all of that said, I just like the way that he can play around with his look. But Paradise is so good. Everybody's like, give him the awards, give him the awards. I agree because I think he's a good actor. But I also feel like after seeing the Oscars and how they really just don't be caring for Black people, and we've known this, I don't know if he's going to get any awards.
I mean, I like Sterling K. These are my pet peeves. His lips are so crackly.
I hate them crackly lips. But sometimes when the camera lands on them, they can look so chocolatey and brown and smooth. But then sometimes they can look like he just got finished smoking a cigarette.
But the thing is, they still be Vaselined up. So I'm like, how they crackly, but they Vaseline down to the ground.
They're wrinkled. He got wrinkled
lips. He has wrinkly lips. Take some of that skin out of there. And then his gums are so pink.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, he's great. And I like his wife, too.
I love her energy. I think she's pretty. She has a look. The thing I like about Ryan is I love that she unapologetically is herself. And I love that she shows up. She doesn't always have to be super glammed up. She shows herself looking rough or just regular.
Real life. Just life.
I still think she's pretty. And I just can appreciate the fact that, like, she'll get in front of the camera without her hair being done, without any makeup on. We don't see that enough. Like, they're also real people. I feel like we don't see enough of that. We don't see enough of the real and the raw. I like that about her. I like that about Ryan, that she gonna show the real and the raw.
Ryan is a good time.
I know. I like
and
her
she be
energy.
Stays on the internet.
I love her energy. I love them two together. Do you watch their podcast?
No.
It's good. I listened to maybe like the first 5 ones. It's actually good. They have a good
rapport,
flow, a good banter back and forth, and the topics are good.
Yeah. So, first episode of Paradise, because the whole time I'm thinking they're at a resort or he's on vacation, like the president's on vacation, and I'm like who killed somebody on vacation? And then they went up like the Truman Show, and I was like, wait a minute, spoilers, and then the whole Uncle Buck situation. Leah back. Jane is a psychopath, out of control. The little black girl is. Listen to somebody.
So, with the daughter, I thought about this. Think about her environment. I don't think she did anything wrong because she's already in a situation where her father is putting her in a place where she's having to be more mature and grown up. Like we said, when you put kids in an adult space, you can't really control. You want them to be a child when you want them to be a child, but then you want them to be grown when you want them to be grown. If you putting her in that space, you can't control if she now is thinking, I can go and do this, I can go and do that, make these decisions on my own, because you put her in the space of treating her like that semi-adult, right? Then when I think about the situation when she ends up getting wrapped up with Jane, he made her feel comfortable to trust people. And not to say that she shouldn't, but I feel like in no scenario would she have been like, let me not go with her. This is somebody you trust. This is somebody that has been around you. This is Uncle Buck's girlfriend. He just died. She's grieving.
So I get it, right? All of those may be true. But then I also thought, if you're in a situation where you don't know who your mama is.
Yeah.
You now are in a new environment.
Yeah.
Y'all now been here for 3 years, so it's not a new environment. But in the back of my mind, I'm still like, the shit that you don't have gone through is not normal.
Okay, yes.
So if your dad comes now and you with the neighbor that has the dog, you see that it's something going on. The president has just been killed, and you have the football, tablet, the tablet. You just say, all of these things are happening, but it's a regular day.
No, I don't think
don't
she was handling it like it was a regular day.
You going out there looking for the boy.
Because, again, now I'm not saying that it's right, because I hate to see kids in grown folks' business. And I don't like that they keep portraying that in movies and TV shows. Like, why are y'all thinking that you can not that you can't ask your parents questions, but why are you getting deep involved in what he got going on? Like, you have the president's tablet. What makes you think, oh, I'm going to search for my mom? Like, that's some grown people shit. You should have went to your dad and been like, hey, I found this. Yes. Is there any way we can search for mom? But you're going and doing it on your own because you're not staying in a child's place. But again, he already put her in a space of she not in a child's place.
So this is the thing. I think adults also, I feel like when they do shit, why would you do that? You're doing shit that you know you ain't got no business because you being nosy.
You're right.
Somebody done told you to sit your ass down.
You're right.
But you want to do what you want to do. Same thing. Let me tell you something. If I have my husband and you don't maybe know when something gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the man who knows when something gonna happen done told you, tell her to stay home. You better do more than just say, I think you should stay. I think if he's now, this is why people, this is my thing. Your antennas
he wasn't taking what the president was saying serious. Xavier wasn't taking it that serious.
I understand that.
That's the reason why he didn't come at her that hard.
That's what
he wasn't taking it.
Where were your antennas, Mr. Secret Service man?
Yeah.
When he's like, let's go through it. And she, as much as she travels, he has, again, using your deductive skills, he's never said, oh, she's gone again, and then left, and re-up with like, nah, I think you should say something. Like, if somebody continues to say something to me, they know something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be astute enough to be like, something's happening, and just so that even if nothing transpires, I would feel more comfortable if you did not go.
People don't lean into their intuition like that, because that makes me think of a situation where I was getting ready to get removed from a position, right? And one of my coworkers knew, and she was trying to tell me without telling me. So she kept saying, throughout this whole week, because it ended up happening on a Thursday, she kept saying, I think you should start like taking some stuff. So we knew it was some tension in the office, but I didn't think it was directed towards me. But she knew, so she was like, I think you should start taking some stuff home. I think you should like kind of reduce your desk down so that if something does happen, you don't have a bunch of stuff here. And when she said that, in my mind, I still didn't. I just was
Child,
like, I was like, she's just trying to.
Would have been packed up that day.
But this is what I'm saying. Everybody's intuition is not to that level, because in my mind, I was like, oh, she's just trying to be safe. She's a little bit more paranoid than me. She's just trying to be safe, right? And it was just like, you're not being like, hey, I really think you should pack your stuff. Like, you're not giving me like the wink, wink, nod. She was just like haphazardly saying it. But I understand why, because she really couldn't tell.
She can't say anything.
So she was really trying to make it super casual where nobody could be like, oh, you told her, you know what I'm saying? But my intuition just wasn't strong enough to pick up on it. So I packed up a couple of little things because I was like, yeah, she right. I don't need to have my Christmas stuff or whatever. I'm not thinking they getting ready to fire me. And when they did, and I talked to her later, she was like, I tried to tell. I was like, now after the fact, I know you was trying to tell me, but in the moment, I just wasn't picking up on it. So I'm just saying all of that to say, I can understand how he not picking up on it. He not taking it that serious, especially when it's coming to him like, yeah, I don't think you should do it. I don't think you should. You know what I'm saying? It's coming off so casual that it's like, you're just being.
I'll tell you something. I don't care if somebody's telling me something. If that person is being overly cautious, especially being in that situation, you were chosen for something.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. They have to go through these evacuation plans because something might be coming. Mm-hmm. This is something that, and you just have gone through how to take me downstairs. How do we do this? How do we do that? There's no way you telling me you military trained. Yeah. You telling me you are a Secret Service agent.
Should have picked up on that.
And you telling me, him telling you, if you tell somebody, like, I don't think she should go, one time, yeah, okay, you right, but what can I say? And then you come back and re-up on that, I'm going to be like.
Especially, too, like you said, they had been running drills, which was outside of their norms. Like, shit. Yeah, why are we, yeah, I agree.
So now you're playing. And then president, you gonna wait till the 11th hour to switch the thing?
I know.
You're dumb. And then black women.
But I think he was contemplating if he should do it or not.
But then I'm like, as black women, if your man say don't go, sometimes you just don't go.
And so prior to watching this, it had been so many other situations. Like, I don't know if y'all watched Supercell, but something similar happened where he told his girlfriend not to do something, not to go somewhere, and she did it anyway. This is very common in TV shows and movies. So me and my husband have actually had this conversation of not really a cold word, but when we're communicating something and it's like, this is not the time to argue with me, just do what I say. Mm-hmm. Because it even can happen on the other side too, where it's like the woman is telling the man something is about to happen and he like, girl, I'm a man. You know what I mean? And then something happens. So we have had that conversation of like, if I'm talking to you this way, or if I say this, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Antennas, get your shit together.
Right. I'm not going to use that any other time. If I say these words, you know that I'm serious. Something is happening. Yeah. I don't need no talk back from you. Do exactly what I say. And so, because I'm a black woman, and if you just be like, I told you to do this and that, like, you don't tell me what the fuck to do. Yeah. But if it's an emergency situation, we have a code where it's like, I wouldn't ordinarily tell you what to do, but this is an emergency situation, and I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Now, he pushes back on that a little bit, because he's like, if we in the middle of the shit, I may not remember the code, and I may not have time to say those words. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, try, because you're in the middle of the storm. Mm-hmm. I don't know what my mindset may be. I could be doing my day-to-day in La La Land, and I need you to snap me out of that. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a zombie apocalypse, and it starts at the gym where you're at, and I'm at home chilling, you have to say something to get my attention, like, hey, something is going on. You know what I mean?
I'll say this. I know for me, I've watched too many shows, I think I know him well enough where I know when it's something that is, I'll say this, he's very more lackadaisical than I. Mm-hmm. So if he says something in a straightforward, this needs to happen kind of way, he's serious about something. Yeah. And I don't really talk, okay, no problem. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. This is not your normal personality. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's going to work in the reverse, because he probably be like, what you talking? And then I'm be the one on the news like, I told his black ass.
Y'all got to come up with a code. Maybe you need the code.
Listen, I don't know. If I tell you to do something, understand, just in regular life when I tell you to do stuff, after the fact, you come to the same conclusion. So if I'm telling you to do something, it's because I know something, and it's going to be for the betterment of you and myself.
But some people are naturally rebellious. Like in this situation with Xavier, he said, how many times have I told my wife to do something and she actually did it? So that's already setting the scene for she's naturally not the type of person to just blindly follow him.
So this is the thing. Then you got to put your drawers on and say something. Even if it's, I'm taking the key, like there would be reasons of her not being able, I'm hiding the phone, like you're not going. Yeah. And then afterwards, if you want to be, and nothing happens, you want to be pissed, and I'll be like, listen, this is what could possibly. Yeah. If you feel a certain kind of way, that's your business. But I'm going to be able to go to sleep at night. Yeah. Do a little more.
Yeah.
Do a little more.
I feel like you could have done
And that
more.
Atlanta.
Well, if y'all are watching Paradise, drop down in the comments. Give us your feedback on it. Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry.
Spoils.
I feel like I should have seen it by now.
I was just watching Kevin on stage. He was talking about the last episode. And he had put on his page or his stories, I wonder how he gonna have fuel to get all the way to it. Like, y'all been out here for 3 years. What's going on, right? But then he said the writer said that they've already been in the writing room and they start recording in 2 weeks. I think it will come out in the fall. We don't have to wait a whole year.
We'll see. Even if they start recording in 2 weeks, it takes several months. I guess it's already March, so they could probably have it done by October, September. Then they still have to edit it. You think it's going to be by the fall? Might be by the winter when they roll out.
Yeah. But usually they do have, because when did they come out?
In the winter.
Because it was 7 episodes.
Yeah, we were on the cruise when I watched, remember I was watching like the second or third episode at the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it came out maybe in January.
Yeah, January 26th.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to have to wait all the way until January.
I don't think it'll be until January, but I don't know. It might be, though. Because think about it. 8 episodes, which probably takes them a couple weeks to film each episode, right? Mm-hmm. So even if it takes them a week to film each episode, we're talking 8 weeks. That's already putting us into what? June? If they do 4 weeks of April, 4 weeks of May, then June they'll be done filming. Mm-hmm. Then they have to edit. Maybe if they start editing in June, it could be ready by October.
I don't know. I'm excited to see it.
Me too. I'm excited for it. Judah watched it. Sydney and Chris didn't watch it. We've been trying to watch stuff as a family, and we all have different tastes.
26.
It is. That's what they said.
Early 26. So probably, I think so, but it's not like, I guess at the beginning of what that season was. So it's still not, because the last episode was what, February? March.
The first week of March.
We won't have to wait until March. We just have to wait until January.
Right.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to find shows to watch together because we all have different tastes. But when I find a show that I like, I normally try to get them to watch it. If they like it, then we can do the next season. Like, I watched Yellow Jackets. Me and Judah watched Yellow Jackets. And then Chris watched it. He liked it, so we were able to watch season 3 together. Mm-hmm. But Sydney didn't watch it. She wasn't interested in it. It's hard because we want to watch TV together and everybody likes different stuff.
Child, when I tell you Abbott Elementary is a hoot.
It is.
It is a hoot.
You finished it?
Yes. Well, was episode 14 was the last episode?
I think so.
Because this is what pisses me off.
I went back to see if they had any more episodes. They didn't, and it's already been a couple weeks. Unless they're taking another break.
No, that episode just came out.
When?
What's the last episode? Mm-hmm.
It's a new one then.
Yeah. Because the original season, the second season, like, so the first season was the pilot, which was a short season. The second season, and I don't know if that's also because of
Look it up. It'll say coming soon if they have more episodes. What? No, just Google it. What season is this?
Is it season 4?
And then you can look at episodes. See where it say episodes right there?
They just did the books one, because that came out on the 5th. It's supposed to be 22.
Oh, okay. So then maybe they taking
usually it's 22 episodes.
It is.
In December, they went for Christmas break, so they do that break, and then they'll come out with another set of...
Okay.
Yeah, so the second season was 22 episodes. The next season was because of COVID, it was only the 14 seasons. 14 episodes, so this is the now regular season that would be
22 episodes. Okay.
Yeah. Did you see when he told her he loved her?
Okay. So I did see the one where I don't think he told her he loved her, but they supposed to be staying off their phones.
So did you see Science Fair?
Yes. So that was the most recent one I saw.
Episode 13. Okay. You're missing episode 14, which is district budget meeting.
Okay.
That's the 100th day of school.
Okay.
With Child Barbara's a hoot. A hoot. You hear me?
Child.
The Science Fair.
Because Ava had me dying.
I'm going to try to tell you something. These characters.
They really are.
I thoroughly enjoy them. Mm-hmm. And surely Ralph just has a special place in my heart.
Oh, I also think just like the writing for Abbott is so good. It's
good.
so relatable.
And then with Tyreek, because he's crazy. Anyway, so good. I'm also watching this show called Doc.
Is that with Morris Chestnut?
No, not Sherlock Holmes. Watson.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. It's kind of having a slow start. I liked him in
Reasonable Doubt.
No. A few years ago, he did a medical type thing. He was not a mortician, but he did crime scene.
Oh, he was what do you call that person? Not the coroner.
He was like a coroner, but private. Okay. So when stuff would happen, they would call him to come in because he kind of had, what is it, MD?
Chicago?
No. Because who else was in it? Do you watch The Equalizer with Queen Latifah? Okay. All right. Oh, gosh. Okay, TV show. It was called Rosewood.
Oh, okay.
And what's the little lady that she's in now? But she's Queen Latifah's aunt in The Equalizer. Let me see. What is her name? Lorraine Toussaint.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah. So she's in that. But like this is like, so Watson is basically, of course, a spin on Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. So the premise of this is, if you ain't seen the first episode, spoilers. But basically the first episode shows you that he and Sherlock Holmes were in the wood chasing Moriarty. And of course, he ends up going over a cliff. But when he goes over the cliff, somebody ends up hitting him on the head. So he now has memory loss. So he's seen Moriarty, but now he doesn't remember what he looks like.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes set up a foundation and a bunch of money for him to have his own hospital so that he can help people with mysterious illnesses. And so that's the gist of this. And it's a merge between House.
Okay.
Without all of the antics.
Because I loved House.
So it's like that from House, but more charismatic.
I might have to watch it, but honestly, I loved House's antics.
Wasn't so?
I loved his narcissistic behavior.
So now that I'm getting more into, so like I'm on episode, I'm caught up with all of the episodes. So it's like 4 episodes, and now you see that Moriarty is more into his life now as well, and he doesn't know that people around him are pulling strings.
Oh wow!
So it's good. It's just, you know how sometimes the first season is a little slow, and so I wish I had waited so that I could have binged it. Yeah. And if I get a good binge of like 5 or 6 episodes, I'm locked.
All right, well, I'm going to wait then.
Why?
What made me think about that is you said sometimes the first couple of episodes can be slow. Paradise was not slow. I was locked in first episode.
The shows that be coming on like Flick Y'all that be coming on Hulu and like Netflix, a lot of times the first episode grabs you. Yeah. So they got to do something to bring you into the mix. More often than not, if you go into Fox or MS, they've piloted this. Other people have seen it, so they can slow walk you.
And writers do that too because they want to stretch out. Like if they had this big thing in the beginning, it's like the expectation is up here and they got to keep doing that, right? And they're not able
for 20 episodes.
Yeah, versus if they start slow, then they can build on it. But I also think that's the art of writing. Can you capture me? Can you pull me in and be able to pull that story out so that every episode is not like a surprise?
So I think you probably like that. I still am enjoying High Potential. That was the crossover. And then I started watching this show called Doc. I was watching Paradise and it came up as a commercial. Okay. And I was like,
What is Doc about?
So the commercial basically is like, she had an accident. She don't remember anything for the last 8 years. And I said, memory loss? That's my jam.
I eat that
up. Especially when I know people, most of the time, anytime memory loss is put into a script, you done did some bullshit. Oh, yeah. Paradise is about a doctor. Doc is about a doctor who, let me see if I can read the thing so I don't give out no spoilers because you know I will spoil it for you. Oh, and it's renewed for a second season. Okay.
Side note on the drink, I would say for people that want it a little bit stronger, add like 2 ounces of vodka. Oh. It's good how it is. Like, I'm a lightweight, but as I was just taking another sip, I was like, You know what? If somebody wanted to take it up a notch, they could add a little shot of vodka. Anyway.
Okay, so basically, is it going to tell me what to say? The doc is about a woman who got into a very, so in the, first episode, she comes in, you see she's a very straight-laced doctor. Like, you could tell that she's had a lot of infractions, things like that, because of her personality. Bedside manner is in the trash. Like, she's terrible, right? So then you see that she's calling to try to talk to her. She's living in a high rise where the house looks very blank, expensive, but there's no decorations there. It's just very
sterile.
And then she goes into the hospital, blah, blah, blah. So then you see her having this back and forth with this other younger doctor, and they're working on the patient. He's like, oh, it's going to take some time to get the blood work back. They go into the car because they're having a
affair.
Not an affair because she's not married.
Okay.
But they're having a secret workplace romance, right? And so they're trying to keep it undercover because her ex-husband is one of the directors of the hospital.
Wow.
One of the doctors that was also they went to school together, kind of grew up in the space together. She's like, I don't know what's going on with Mr. Dixon, but he shouldn't have died, right? And he was like, I did what I was supposed to do. She was like, I'm going to get the autopsy, and I'm going to prove that you messed up. Because so she's the chief of this department, and so he wants the chief. He's competing with her because she's had so many infractions. They really trying to let her go. He's like, I'm trying to slide in that spot, but then she's like, no, because you are trash. That same evening, if I'm not mistaken, I remember she was trying to grab her phone. I think it was a texting and driving situation. Her not paying attention. She get hit by a semi truck.
Oh gosh.
They take her into surgery. On the commercial, this is what piqued my interest, because they was like, well, who's the president of the United States? And she was like, JFK. And then they was like, is that your serious answer? And she was like, Barack Obama. So then I'm like, are you going to ask her again if that's her serious answer? And they were like, what year do you think it is? And she was like, it's 2016. So now she's in a hospital trying to understand where's her husband and where her kids is at. She don't remember having no workplace romance.
So who do she think the boyfriend is?
Just another intern that has started in those 8 years, or a doctor that started within those 8 years. Yeah, like she knows, because the doctor that she was dating was not there during the internship, so she doesn't really know him at all. There's another black doctor that was studying under her, so she recognized him. She's like, oh, you actually became a doctor? There's another doctor that can't stand her because in those 8 years, she treated her terribly, and her second day was like, are you sure you need to be a doctor? Because you don't. You're not qualified enough. Because people make mistakes and stuff like that. She was no tolerance. You know what I mean? So now she has to work with all of these people, not remembering how she treated them,
how she knows them,
and then also finding out things that have happened in her life
those last 8 years.
And now she has a personality of, like, she's still in love with her husband. Damn. Right? He got a whole nother family.
Yikes.
She don't have a relationship with her daughter anymore. And there's other things that are like causing things to happen for her. I started watching this, and it was already 8 episodes, so I was able to binge get into it. It was good.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on the
Snaps
list
for
too.
Doc on Hulu.
I'll put it on the list too. All
and
right.
what else am I watching? I'm watching a lot of stuff.
Well, before we get out of here, because it's almost that time.
Catching up.
I know. So we had talked about doing like asking for a friend, or like I got a friend that went through whatever scenario, because we want to tell y'all business.
Without telling y'all
who
y'all business is belonging to.
And we haven't done that. We've been really good. Like, we haven't really, we kind of like dropped some little things here and there, but we haven't really done it. But I think this season, I think we should, because these past couple of weeks that I've been hanging out with my girlfriends and talking to them, one comment that was made was like, I feel like y'all could go deeper into certain topics, but y'all kind of stay on the surface. And I'm like, we stay on the surface because we really don't be trying to expose nobody. But I was thinking about, Tank, the Love and Money podcast. They do the I Ain't Saying No Names. And I think one of the morning radio shows do like an asking for a friend type of thing. So I was thinking maybe we could do it like that. And I have a scenario that I want to get your take
I'm ready
on your
for a
opinion
scenario.
on. So this will be asking for
a friend's opinion.
Like,
okay.
or I know a friend that's going through this situation.
Yeah.
So the friend is a woman in her, mid-40s. She had her first child at 18, a girl.
Okay.
She now has 3 girls, 2 boys. Her oldest is 30 now. And
I'm going to say, is this me?
No. Is this story about us? No. Her oldest is 30 now. Her oldest is married. She has 1 child, and she lives maybe like an hour away from her mom. Not too far. Like, maybe her mom live in like Bethesda, and she live in, this is hypothetical, y'all. She lived maybe in like this area, Waldorf, right? So it's not
crazy far.
Yeah. But it's about an hour away.
Yeah.
And because she's married and has everything going on, and because her mom has other kids, they don't really see each other that much. They periodically talk here and there, but it's like, you got your life going on, you still running behind my siblings, I got my life going on, I'm trying to start my family with my husband, etc. So they did have a little hump in the road where the older daughter felt like, you do all of this for my younger, like especially the younger ones, because her youngest is I think 10. So she's like, you do all of this for my younger siblings, and like I wish you were that mom for me. Like going to their school stuff and packing lunches and all of that. I didn't get that version of you. And she expressed that she was a little envious, but she's like, I get it, I understand. It is what it is. So my friend apologized to her daughter. She was like, I'm sorry. I wish I could have been different. She's like, but I was 18. I didn't know anything. I'm sorry that I had to learn with you how to be a mom. But the mistakes that I made with you, I tried to not make those mistakes with your siblings. And every child that I have, I learned. So now this youngest one is getting the best version of me because I just kept getting better and better with each child. The daughter's like, yeah, I get it, but it still hurts. So mom was like, the only thing I can do is give you who I am now. You don't really need me that much, but when you do need me, I'm here, right? So the mom, she thinking they hashed it out, they talked about it, everything's cool, they kind of know where each other stand. So her daughter is now pregnant with baby number 2, right? And they've checked in periodically, but nothing too crazy, right? So she getting ready to have a baby. She's doing a couple weeks. And the mom is having a conversation with her middle daughter, who's maybe like 19, 20, but still in the house. And she's like, Mom, have you heard from our older sister? And she's like, oh, yeah, I texted her. She was like, I just feel like so the daughter tried to make a joke like, would it be funny if she had the baby and ain't say nothing to us? And the mom was like, no, that wouldn't be funny. And she not crazy. She not about to do that. So she said, a couple days go by, she giving her youngest a bath. And when she gave him a bath, she gave him a little nickname and just was like, oh, you looking a little Hispanic. You look like a little, what did she say? Like, you look like a little Carlos or something like that. Because you know how kids, when you give them a bath, their hair get wet. It kind of get, especially if you ethnic, it kind of get a little wavy. Yeah. So she had said that. So when she said it, her middle daughter was like, oh my gosh, Mom, that's so crazy. And she was like, what are you talking about? She's like, that's what my sister named her baby. She named him Carlos. And she was like, what are you talking about? She was like, the baby. She had the baby. And she named him Carlos. The mom was like, what the fuck? And she was like, she posted it on her Instagram. You didn't see it? She was like, my bad. I thought y'all had talked or whatever. She's like, no, we haven't talked. So she immediately goes to text her daughter like, hey, what's going on? I'm hearing you had the baby. Did you have the baby? I can't believe you had the baby. You didn't tell me. What in the world is going on? So she's sending her a text message. Girl not answering. Her last message was, I'm just so heartbroken by this. Like, I'm devastated. Like, I just can't believe this, and I hope it's not true. And she was like, at the very least, you could at least send me a picture. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it is true, which I'm obviously starting to believe that it is, since you're not responding to me, you could at least send me a picture, right? So she sends her a picture. The daughter sends her a picture, and then with the picture, she sends a long message about, how, oh, I'm focusing on myself and my family right now, and I am only reaching out to the people that have shown up for me or been active in my life at this time and reached out to me. Basically just saying, like, you just so happen to not be one of those people. Now, when when I heard this story, my chin hit the floor. I'm like, I can't imagine. My mom had me at 15, so she didn't really raise me. And my siblings definitely got a different version of my mom than I got. And even if we wasn't really talking like that, and even if I had beef about, damn, you doing all this for them, but you're not doing that for me, in no scenario would I be going through this motherhood journey and not communicate with her. I feel like the text should have been, as soon as she had the baby, if she didn't want her mom there, she calmed down, she settled down. The text message should have been, hey, I just had the baby. He's 9 pounds, whatever many ounces, born at such and such time, whatever. I feel like you should at least get that announcement. You ain't text your mom. You ain't reach out to her at all. Now there may be more to the story. This is just her point of view that she's telling me. Even if there is more to the story, I feel like that is completely heartbreaking for a parent. What's your take on that?
That's what I'm going to say. Because I've had this same conversation with my kids. I had Justin when I was 18, had Janae when I was 19, had Jayla when I was 21. Each of them, unfortunately, Justin wasn't able to see this version of myself, but Janae saw the version of broken, not having it financially, still being dependent on my parents, not having child support to really help out, have gone through the things, right? COVID. So you're talking now that for my child, 2009 to 2020. Not that I wasn't because I always still did stuff, but I was a parent of trying to make it, right? Like I was trying to make it parent. So what Janae remembers is like the fullness of that. Jayla remembers the partialness of that. Jonathan remembers none of that, and Joshua isn't even going to experience any of it. So Janae and I were having a conversation. She was like, they'll have a different life. She said, but I will say, and now I'm saying all this because it just depends on the person. She's like, I appreciated the person that you were then, because even in trying to figure it out, you didn't maybe buy us a bunch of stuff, but you gave us so many experiences. You would try to make things fun, try to do certain things. And I think sometimes it depends on what you value. If you value time and a person, then no matter what that person did, you were there. If you value things, even if the person is also showing up, they may have still shown up, but just not in the same way, right? So for 8 years, I worked 2 jobs. So I couldn't show up the same way that I'm showing up now, where I with Joshua every weekend. When I come home, there's a difference. The boys will never have known to have ever lived in an apartment.
Right.
Jayla don't even remember being, even though she was there, doesn't remember being in an apartment. Like it's snippets.
Yeah.
Janae remembers living in an apartment. She remembers having to move here. She remembers all of the things. I see the fullness of my parents because I'm a parent. I was a young parent. My dad had his first at 18 as well. And so the fullness of a personality, and I don't look at them as just my parent, but I look at them as a person.
Yes.
And so I think sometimes with certain children, they can't look at their parent as a human being.
The parent.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think that there are some things in which there are like similarities of learning. Then some parents just take it to the extreme and do too much. Like, why are you relying on your kids for this? You should have done what you needed to do, like bitten the bullet and made sacrifices, right? You have parents that, yes, they bit the bullet and made sacrifices, but they're still learning how to be a parent. One realization for Janae was, she said, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was just in the car. Something resonated with her where she was like, I looked at it like when we were talking about something, and she's like, this is my first time being 16 or being 17. He said, when I said that out loud, I was like, well, this is my mom's first time being...
Whatever age she's at.
This is the first time she's had a child that's 16.
Exactly.
So a lot of times when you are the oldest, and it sucks, I ain't going to say that it doesn't. I try to do the best to make things a little bit more equitable and equal in the household. But if I was the same parent that I was to her, to them, that means I've done no growth.
Exactly.
And when people first have kids, sometimes you're going through that postpartum. I just can't believe somebody would do this, right?
Yeah, but I did tell her that. I asked her, do you think it's just hormones?
I think
it could be, or it could also even be like depression, right? Like you so deep in that depression that every little thing that somebody does, you taking it as an affront.
When people don't resolve certain things, or when they get an actual answer that makes sense, it shakes the core of them. So now you have the core of her relationship with her mother is my mom treats her other kids better than me. So that's whatever happened it's usually the age of, I'm going to say 13, 14, 15. Those are there will be something that happens at that age that will cause something to switch. And it's either going to switch for the betterment of you, or it's going to be at your core. It's going to be the reason why you do whatever you do.
Like your origin story.
Your origin story. I remember when it happened for me. I remember the exact conversation. I remember exactly what was said. I remember exactly where I was at, and I know exactly how I felt. That has been what has driven me. For me, it was two different things. That was the main thing. That has driven me to overcompensate for trying to be the best of the best in every version of myself. But within that, if you are always trying to succeed, you don't ever enjoy the success.
So are you saying that if her idea of her relationship with her mom was, my mom treats her other kids better than me, now that idea is being broken down, it's almost like I don't know who I am if I'm not the girl whose mom treats her other kids better than me.
So now you have to relinquish that.
Yeah.
So I've been carrying this, now being a mother. I think that there'll be some realization, and some people will cut it off because they don't really want to see the fullness of it. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen in 3-4 years. But there will be a different relationship that she will have with both of her children.
Yep.
The realization of, this is what my mom went through.
Yep.
And you may be 30, but I tell you what, you know the age difference of the kids?
She had her daughter at 18.
No, her oldest daughter, how old is her kid?
Different? 2 years apart.
Okay. Let's say she has 2 more. That first one and that last one, they're going to have a different parent.
Even the 2, yeah.
But the thing is, they won't feel it as much because whatever you're learning it within the same time span, right? Yeah. There'll be some differences because even with the 3 years, Jayla and Janae have a different experience. The experience is because of the financial change in things. It's also because the behavioral change of 2 different type of children. And so when we have these conversations, because I do feel, I do kind of feel bad, even with me planning the Sweet 16 for Jayla, Janae didn't have like this type of thing. But also Janae didn't have friends. Right. But also Janae was smoking weed and doing shit she ain't had no business. So
you put Janae on blast.
I said, now why would you say something like that? First of all, I was going to hit him and he moved. I don't have nothing to do with that hand lands. You hear me? You should have stayed still and took it like a man.
He ran into
it. And she was like, and I mean, it was stuff that trying to get children that are 18 months apart, they weren't ever like unruly, but they was a lot. They tried every piece of patience that I had. I mean, tried to unlock new patience and then break those down. You hear me? Just tried me. And then I was kind of like, with Jayla, she's like, they just get away with stuff. And I'm like, Jayla just doesn't remember getting in as much trouble because you've been around longer. I said, but you don't get it. That was maybe 2 or 3 years of your life that you remember, because that was literally the only time y'all got into major trouble. Right. Outside of that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try. Not necessarily gentle parenting, but I watched the podcast and they were like, if all your children know how to respond to something is through violence, and it was more so because of Justin being a black male, then violence is what he's going to portray as he gets older. And I didn't want that. So the parent that they got is different because I did some educational stuff. I learned some different things. The same, like the parents that I had are not the grandparents that my kids had.
Exactly.
Like, by no means. But the parents that I have now are not the parents that I had when I was younger. The relationship, and this is what I think, and I feel so bad when people don't have the relationship that turns from parent to friend. Because it unlocks a door that is so precious and fulfilling. I'm like, I can see, like, you have children that's like, they don't want anything to happen to their parent because, like, I couldn't lose my parent, right? And I'm like, I can't lose my friends. Those are like the corners, like that's my foundation. They are the foundation of me, right? Absolutely. In the situation with your girlfriend, I feel like her daughter, and not negating her feelings, because I can understand those true feelings, same feelings I've had with my mother. If you can't have a conversation and take that conversation, do your own soul searching and healing, you've done, like, as the parent, you've done all that you can do. You apologize. If you recognize, like, I know that wasn't the best version of me.
Right.
And I want to give you I want you to reap what you've sown.
Yes.
The choice to not reap what you've sown is basically you not wanting to alter the foundation of who you are.
Not wanting to do that work.
And that's going to be her loss.
My advice that I gave to her is, I believe this to my core. Every child wants their parent. It doesn't matter how fucked up. It doesn't matter. Every child wants their parent. Now, every child may not get it, but that longing for your parent is there. Even kids that have been adopted eventually long for their birth parents. Even kids that have had deadbeat dads, they still want to find out. Even deadbeat moms, they still want to find their mom. I feel like every child at their core wants their parent.
Yeah.
So I feel like she will get over this eventually. I don't know how long it will take, but that longing for your parent never goes away. And then the second piece of advice I gave her is, her being a mom herself of 2 kids, at some point, and it may not be soon, but at some point, she's going to get to a space where she needs her mom. She needs the guidance from her mom. Because other women can come and be community and give you advice, but unless your relationship was just seriously damaged, which I don't see this as it being that damaged. I think the daughter has some unresolved issues that she hasn't dealt with. There's a part of you, when you're going through this journey, you need guidance from a person that has done it before and knows you. Nobody knows you like your mom, especially if you were raised by your mom. If you're going through something, you may get information from the internet, you may get information from other people, but your mother knows you. And she knows how to say, okay, here's what you need to do. And I know how you go about that. I know how to give it to you in a way that's specifically tailored to you. And I just think, even if you get the same exact advice, it's some form of a comfort getting it from your mom, or even a form of validation getting that from your mom. And I think eventually, because motherhood is hard, right? Challenges, you have times where it's just like, I don't know if I can do this. But then if your mom is like, no, you can do it, here's what you got to do, there's comfort in that, there's validation in that. So I think eventually she will get there. She's going to get to a space where it's like, I need my mom. But
this is the thing I want, and this is just my other piece of advice, because I've seen this with other situations and children and parents once she arrives to this place. There's no other hurt that your daughter could give you outside of this. And so now I still want you to chase after me.
As a kid that has been in that situation, I agree. I want to hurt your feelings and I want you to chase after me.
I would say, as a parent, the hardest thing to do is to take your feelings out of it. My next text message would have been, I hate that we're in a space where you don't feel that you can count on me. But no matter how long it is, I will always be here. Even if it's just like, hey, I'm thinking about you and the kids. Whenever you are ready to talk, I'm here to have a conversation. I hope everything is going well. I'm going to send you a care package of things that I might think that you need. Please send me a list. Janae said to her grandmother about me. And she said, and then she said it's about her grandmother with her relationship with her dad, and her dad not, like, them not speaking. She's like, no matter what I've done, and I've, pissed my mother off and things like that, she coming downstairs and we having a conversation. Yeah. She may give me a couple of days and then she be like, so... My biggest thing is, you hungry? What y'all want to eat for dinner? Sometimes as parents, you're still parenting your children because she's going to come full circle when these kids are the same age. Something's happening and she's going to want to have the strength to say, my mom went through this with me. I know I can push through this. Yeah. And pushing my feelings out, because I went through a good rough 4 years with Janae.
And she may even get to a point, too, where she realizes how painful this was. Because, like her being a mom herself, she got to think about that. Like, now, what happens if your kids do that to you? That's so painful. I think, hopefully, she'll come to the realization of, like, I really treated my mom fucked up. Let me apologize. You know what I mean?
If the person that you are trying to, your foundation is still a child, You're never, and so being a parent, you have to know where your child's coming from. Yeah. Like, yeah, she's a grown person. She just had a baby and all of the things, but she's still also coming from a place where she thinks she knows the best. She thinks, it's all of these thinkings. Yeah. And you as a parent have to be like, but I have to break those thinkings down. I have to break those influences down. If the influences are the stories that you created in your mind, it's my job to break those influences down. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're going to have a stiff drink afterwards, but you're just going to have to power through. Yeah, it sucks. And I tell you, I be probably talking shit with my other kids. Like, now I called your bald-headed sister, and she be like, Mom said she called your bald-headed today. You know what I'm saying? and sometimes those other kids get like, Mom is trying. Whatever your situation is, she's either going to get it or she's not. But it is still your responsibility as a parent who has brought this person into this world to continue to try to show up for them as their mother. Yep. Because even when my mom and I are good friends, I know if I'm in a pickle, I can call my mom and be like, sis. And then I be having a conversation. She's like, Kendra, I don't want to know that. I'd be like, girl, I just think I'm talking to my homegirl. My bad. my bad. We were just talking the other day about going to Paris in 27. I said,
she loved to go on the trip.
But yeah,
that was that. She know who she is. Hopefully she see this and take
hopefully
this
she's, even if you don't take it, understand that there are also people in this world who understand exactly what you're going through, and who have been in the same situation, who understand that at 18 you don't know what you're doing, and you're giving somebody the best version, the best of you. I'm not the best sister. I'm not the same sister I was a year, and it can change.
Hercules.
He said, please. I'm in the mix. I've had relationships where I'm the best this and I love this person and this, that, and the full, and then things change in our relationship and we don't even speak. Things change on either spectrum, either end of it. But with this situation, especially this being your child and now your grandchildren, you've sown a seed, but you still have to nurture that seed. Because at 30 you still don't know.
Still young.
Hopefully it's different when it's a male-female situation, meaning if this was a son,
right?
Because a lot of times women, I'm not going to say a lot of times, I'm going to speak for myself. Being in the same similar situation and having to have a conversation, I wasn't the best mom all the time. The version that you see me as a mother was not the version that I was 13, 14 years ago. The broken me was not the same, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, the mother that you've been told about, you may have had some things with her, but she was also young. Now you've done some things that you don't think are perfect as a parent. You didn't make the best decisions with everything in becoming a parent, and you're a male. Yeah. So imagine that, where this child is always with you and all of this, and it ain't gonna be perfect. Yeah. So hopefully she has some people in her corner, maybe even like her mother-in-law in her corner. Prayers out for that, because I always think that parents should be the best version of themselves for their kids, and kids should allow their parents to give them the grace to grow.
Amen. Amen. That's a word. Was that another great
episode? That's another great episode.
We'll do more of these. Maybe not every time, but like,
send us your stories.
To my friends be telling me their business, and I be like, I really want to talk about this. But the hard part is, some of y'all know each other. So if I speak on a specific thing, everybody gonna know who I'm talking about.
So she should have had like 3 kids.
I mean, but she got 5. But it's not you, though.
I know it's not me, because my first wasn't a girl.
I know.
And ain't nobody 30.
I know. But exactly. But what if her story was more similar to you? Be like, is this bitch talking about business?
And I'd be like,
no. So I'll figure it out. I'll at least for my friends. I don't know. Your friends might be different.
I don't have no friends, girl. My friends, I can't tell your business. And my mama. And I
change. If you tell my business, change the names and the dates.
Names, dates, occupations, everything. Skin color, Caucasian. I don't know.
When she start off with, my white friend is super social, I'm gonna be like, this plan's about me.
This story is a autobiography about me.
Well, make sure you like, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, drop in the comments, tell a friend.
And give some other people that, and my children are still, my oldest is now getting ready to be 19 this year. So there may be listeners and watchers out there that have gone through this, came on the other side of this, or are still going through this. How are you? Are you continuing to foster the relationship? Have you done all that you can do for your own mental health? You know, let us know.
Drop down in the comments.
We'll drink to that.